They told me they were too tired. Long drive, Elena. Your mom's back's been acting up. We'll be cheering from home, sweetie. That's what Dad said when I called to confirm the seat count. Then, Mom chimed in, trying to sound apologetic. It's been an exhausting month, Elena, Mom said. Your father's drowning in reports. I've got 3 listings going live this weekend. We're just completely drained. It was the day before graduation, and I was standing under the blazing Virginia sun, rehearsing the walk from the tunnel to the podium. My gown stuck to the back of my legs. The dean handed me a small card with my name printed in gold. Valedictorian, it said underneath. You'll be sitting here, she said, pointing to a metal folding chair center stage. And you've requested 3 seats in the family section? I nodded. Yes, 3. Even though by then, I already knew better. When practice wrapped, I ducked under the bleachers to check my phone. A text from Mom had come in during the speech rehearsal. We're just too tired to make the trip, sweetheart. You understand, right? We're so proud of you. Go enjoy your moment. We'll watch the stream. I stared at the screen. Not angry, not even surprised. And then, stupidly, I tapped open Instagram. Savannah had posted a story 20 minutes earlier. She was holding a mimosa. Mom was next to her in a plush white robe. Their feet were soaking in rose petal water smiles, wide matching spa slippers. Mother-daughter recharge dar wellness weekend. The location tag said the Willows Spa, Georgetown. I scrolled to the next clip, a boomerang of the 2 of them clinking glasses with the caption, Sometimes self-care is skipping the noise. And then a comment from Mom, best day with my beautiful girl. I didn't comment. I didn't text. I didn't cry. I closed the app. I walked back to the dorm. I sat at my desk staring at the final draft of my valedictorian speech. It was full of gratitude, hope, the kind of language that sounds safe in a university newsletter. I deleted it and opened a blank page. The page stayed blank for a while. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I just knew I couldn't say what I had before. It wasn't just about the spa day. It was about everything that came before it. And it always came back to the birthday. I was turning 16. It was the kind of birthday you don't forget, except I almost had until I saw Savannah's photos years later. That year, I asked for dinner at the Italian place downtown. Nothing fancy. Just the 4 of us. Pasta and dessert. Mom said they were too busy. A lot happening at work. We'll celebrate at home. And we did. At home, I got a wrapped box on the kitchen counter, a leather-bound planner, and a note that said, For the future you're building. It was practical, thoughtful in a way. I said thank you, even smiled for the photo, then helped Mom clean up the dishes. A few months later, Savannah turned 19. And suddenly, the backyard was strung with lights. A private chef came with silver trays, and a custom cake shaped like a Chanel purse sat next to a full karaoke setup. I watched her twirl in the new dress Mom had picked out, laughter echoing under the string lights. Dad held the camera like it was a red carpet event, capturing every smile, every pose. I stood at the sliding door, watching her twirl in the new dress Mom had bought her. Dad held a camera, snapping non-stop. Mom clapped along, shouting, Look at our little star. They never called me that, not once. When I asked about it later, gently, cautiously, Mom said, Oh, honey, you've never liked parties. You're our serious one. Our focused one. As if that explained everything. As if that excused never asking what I actually wanted. And maybe they were right. I was the serious one. I read before bed, not fashion magazines. I liked quiet bookstores, not brunch spots. And maybe I didn't sparkle the way Savannah did. But that didn't mean I didn't want to be seen. So I worked harder. At school, on essays, on perfect grades. If I couldn't be the daughter they clapped for, maybe I could be the one they quoted at dinner parties. But they never did. And now, on the edge of the biggest moment of my life, they were too tired, too busy, too drained, but not too tired for facials and champagne. Back at my desk, I wrote 5 words across the top of the page. This is not a thank you. Then I kept going. 3 weeks before graduation, I got the email. Subject line, valedictorian announcement, confirmed. I sat in the quiet corner of the campus cafe, blinking at the screen. For a moment, the noise around me faded. It was real. Me. Top of the class. 4 years of extra credit office hours, skipped spring breaks. I'd spent one summer proofreading essays for the department in an airless back room while Savannah was taking yacht selfies in Santorini. Now this. I called home with hands still shaking. Mom picked up on the third ring. I heard the background hum of HGTV. She sounded distracted. Mom, I have some news. Oh, hey, sweetie. Hang on, these cabinets are hideous, she said with a laugh. Okay, what's going on? I swallowed. I got it. Valedictorian. There was a beat of silence. Then, that's nice, sweetie. So that means you're like, what highest grades? I nodded even though she couldn't see. Yes. I'll be giving the speech. Right. That's great. Well, you always were our little bookworm. And just like that, she pivoted. Did I tell you Savannah's stylist might be doing a shoot in Miami? It could be big for her. I didn't interrupt. I let her finish her story about Savannah's connections, who she was meeting, what she might wear. When I brought up the graduation date and said I'd be mailing formal invitations, Mom chuckled. Oh, honey, don't go fancy with us. Just send a text. But I didn't want to text. I wanted something they couldn't swipe past. So I went to the little stationery shop near campus and bought thick ivory paper, hand-cut, decal-edged. I wrote out their names in gold ink using the calligraphy I'd taught myself as a child. No typos, no smudges. Inside, it would mean the world to me if you were there. That weekend, I drove the 3 hours home, waited until after dinner after Savannah finished her long story about brunch with someone important, and Dad opened his second bottle of wine. I placed the envelopes on the table one by one. Dad raised an eyebrow. You drove all this way, just for these? Mom opened hers. Oh, sweetie, she said. You used the gold pen with the curly E's. Savannah, look. Savannah glanced. Cute. Then went back to her phone. I stayed to clear the dishes. No one asked what I'd speak about. No one asked what it had taken to get there. The night before graduation, I couldn't sleep. Too much adrenaline. Too much silence. I'd practiced the speech 3 times, ironed my gown, laid out my shoes. Everything was ready. Everything but me. At 2:03 a.m., I gave up and reached for my phone. I figured maybe a congratulations text from a classmate or something light from Jessie to calm my nerves. What I got instead was Savannah's Instagram story. There she was again, lying back in a white spa chair, cucumber slices on her eyes, a champagne flute in hand. Mom sat beside her, grinning under a hydrating gold face mask. Their robes read, "The Willows Spa, VIP Suite." I tapped for the next clip. They were sipping wine and giggling. The caption floated above them, "Self-care before summer chaos." Another tap. A photo this time. Savannah smiling with her head on Mom's shoulder. "Best day with my star girl," Mom had written in the comments. Not "so proud of Elena." Not "wish we could be there tomorrow." Not even a mention that I existed. Just spa steam and curated joy. I sat frozen in the dark, phone still glowing in my hand. I hadn't said anything when they bailed. I hadn't said anything when they shrugged off the invitation. But this was the part that cracked something loose. My fingers trembled as I opened our message thread. "Me saw your stories. Thought Mom and Dad were too tired to travel." Savannah replied 10 minutes later. "Don't be sensitive. This was planned weeks ago. You'll be fine." 3 sentences. That was the sum total of their explanation. I turned the phone face down, then face up again, then back down. My eyes landed on the folder beside my laptop, the speech I'd reworked, the one filled with careful truths coded in safe language. I opened it and deleted the title. This wasn't going to be the version where I thanked them just because I was supposed to. This wasn't going to be the version where I acted like they were there, because they weren't. They were too tired for me, but not too tired for wine and wellness and matching spa robes. I started a new document and typed the words I'd wanted to say for years. I rewrote the speech before sunrise, not out of anger, not even spite, but because the version I had before didn't fit anymore. It was polite, polished like a Christmas card addressed to people who'd never read it. This time, I wasn't writing for them. I was writing for the girl who had celebrated every small win alone, for the student who turned down weekend trips to meet deadlines, for the young woman who stopped asking for attention and started building without it. The new speech didn't start with "thank you to my family." It started with, "To those who kept showing up even when no one clapped for them, this is for you." I printed it on plain paper, folded it once, and slipped it into my folder, next to the old version, just in case I lost my nerve. By 7:15 a.m., I was dressed and ready. Outside my dorm, Jessie was waiting with 2 coffees and a wrinkled paper bag. "Muffin emergency," she said, handing me the one without blueberries. She remembered I hated them. Tom pulled up a few minutes later with a sunflower bouquet poking out the passenger window. He didn't say much, just gave me a nod and grinned. He didn't need words to say he was proud. We got to the ceremony venue early. The sun was already sharp, the folding chairs laid out in even rows on the field. There were signs taped to the front, 3 reserved. Carter family still untouched. I didn't look too long, just enough to know. People started arriving in clusters, dads in pressed shirts, moms holding cameras, friends waving wildly from the aisle. There was a kind of soft chaos in the air, excited and expectant. Jessie squeezed my hand once before heading to her seat. A volunteer guided me behind the stage. I clutched the folder tighter, feeling the corners dig into my palm. The dean was mic'd up and smiling. "Ready?" she asked. I nodded. "Not the kind you give out of politeness, the kind you give when there's nothing left to lose." When they called my name, the applause began. But I didn't hear it. Not really. Because I was already focused on the mic, on the camera, on the words I was about to say. Words they never expected. Words they would never forget. The applause was still echoing as I stepped up to the podium. I adjusted the mic with steady hands. The paper didn't shake. I looked out, not at the sea of students in caps, not at the stage crew, not even at the president behind me. I looked at those 3 empty chairs. Then I looked straight into the live stream camera. And I began. "To those who worked hard to be seen, this is for you." My voice sounded calm, firmer than I expected. It carried. Not just across the field, but through the feed into phones, living rooms, wherever someone might be listening. To the professors who stayed after hours, who reminded us that questions weren't weakness. To the friends who knew when to knock and when to just sit quietly beside us, thank you. Soft smiles in the crowd, nods, real connection, and to those who believed in showing up even when it was inconvenient or uncomfortable or unfashionable. I didn't flinch at the word. Some of us didn't have confetti waiting for us at home. Some of us weren't born into applause. The crowd shifted, subtle but unmistakable. People knew what I was saying, even if I never said names. Graduation is about achievement, but it's also about being witnessed. Because there is a difference between making it and being seen making it. I could feel the camera holding on my face. Good. I requested 3 seats in the family section. They're still available. Silence. Someone coughed near the aisle and it echoed louder than it should have. If you've ever sat in a room and wondered whether your success counted because no one clapped, let me be the first to say it does. It always has. Jessie's eyes brimmed. I saw Tom give a low whistle through a smile. Some of us grew up learning that love had conditions, that pride had terms. But you don't have to wait for someone else's permission to feel proud. Another pause. So, if today you walked across this stage for yourself because no one else pushed you, no one else praised you, then I see you. We made it. And we made it honestly. I folded the paper and stepped back from the mic. Applause broke slowly. Then it surged louder than I expected. But I wasn't listening for that, because somewhere behind a screen they were hearing it too. And this time, they didn't get to interrupt. They didn't get to smile and spin it. They just had to sit and let it land. I opened the drawer, didn't change out of my gown, didn't turn on the lights, just sat down, pulled the drawer open, and reached behind the stack of pens and receipts. The envelope was still there, slightly bent, no return address. Just my name, Elena, in my dad's handwriting. The way he looped the E had never changed. He'd given it to me 3 years ago after we got pancakes to celebrate my university acceptance. He slid it across the table like it was no big deal. "Just something I wanted you to have," he'd said. I'd read it once, folded it neatly and tucked it away. Tonight it felt different. I unfolded the paper carefully as if the words might slip off the page. "Elena, you always carry more than you let on. I see it. I hope you never forget that your quiet strength is still strength. You've earned everything coming to you. No matter where you go, don't let anyone make you small to feel seen. You already are. Love, Dad. That was it. No long speech, no instructions, just a note from a father who at some point had seen me. Really seen me. Before the dinners I wasn't invited to. Before Savannah's spa weekends became family events. Before I started shrinking myself just to keep peace. I held the letter like something fragile, like it might turn to dust if I breathed too hard. It had never been read aloud at a family dinner, never been framed in the hallway. No one had ever asked to see it again. But it existed. My phone buzzed on the desk, a message from Mom. We watched the stream. Your speech was, well, unexpected, but powerful. Call us when you get a moment, okay? And another from Savannah. Congrats, valedictorian. I didn't know you were feeling all that. Don't be so dramatic next time. I didn't reply. Didn't open Instagram the next morning when Savannah posted another photo, her in a robe, again captioned, "True peace is choosing who deserves your energy." Mom had commented underneath, "You are our sunshine." I didn't like it, didn't share it, didn't respond. Because I had something they never posted, didn't remember, didn't value enough to hold on to. But I did. And sometimes the things they don't frame are the ones you carry with you longest. 3 weeks later, I moved to DC. The internship offer had come in a month before graduation copywriting for a digital magazine focused on women-led ventures. I said yes, without hesitation. It felt like a clean slate. My apartment was tiny with creaky floors and a window that caught exactly 15 minutes of morning sun. But it was mine. No framed quotes on the wall, no family portraits. Just quiet space to figure out what I wanted to write and who I was when no one was grading me. I didn't call my parents, not out of spite, but because I didn't feel the pull to anymore. That thread had loosened. Savannah texted once, just one message the night before I left for DC. I kept thinking about that speech. You were brave. I stared at it for a long time. There was no sorry. No, I should have come. But it also wasn't laced with sarcasm or condescension. Just honest, uneasy, maybe curious. 2 weeks into the new job, she messaged again. Want to grab lunch? I'll be in the city. We met at Union Market, neutral territory. No talk about Mom or Dad, no explanations. She didn't bring up the spa day. I didn't bring up the empty chairs. Instead, we talked about the food, about how weird it felt to be adults suddenly comparing rent prices and commute times. It was the first time in years we shared a meal without our parents' opinions hovering over us. When we said goodbye, she didn't hug me, but she looked like she wanted to. That night, I walked home past a flower stand and bought myself a small bouquet yellow tulips and baby's breath. Nothing fancy, just something bright for my desk. I set up the self-timer on my phone and took a photo sitting at the kitchen table smiling the flowers in my hand. I posted it on my new account, not my family's Facebook page, just my space, mine alone. The caption read, "It took 22 years, but I finally took a photo that didn't need to be approved. No one was tagged. No one commented. So proud or our girl." And I didn't need them to. That picture wasn't for them. It was for the version of me who used to wait by the phone. The girl who used to scroll, wondering what she did wrong. This time she didn't wonder. She just smiled. Because sometimes healing isn't loud. It doesn't come with applause or an apology. It comes quietly in the choice not to ask for permission anymore.